Peak. Well, ABB India reported a weak set of Q2 CY25 numbers. The company's margins contracted and the order inflow too came under pressure. We have the management with us, and this is something that we look forward to listening to.
So I think base orders definitely grew, right? So I think what was missing in this particular quarter was a large orders, what we had in the last year at the same time. And that's something which did not materialize in this particular quarter. And that's more driven by the fact about how speedily decisions get made up in the market, given the uncertainties of the other topics which are being dealt in the geopolitical level. So that's how we see that the market is behaving at this point of time.
So any particular segments in particular that are being impacted this time around? Is it largely, the impact is coming in on process automation or, any specific segments that you like to highlight?
So as far as ABB portfolio is concerned, as you know, we are into 4 business areas, robotics, process automation, motion and electrification. So typically our motion and electrification is a flow business, which essentially captures the mood of the market, how nation is building itself into infrastructure, industrial infrastructure, and the government capex which is formed in different areas. When it comes to robotics, it's pure manufacturing play, whether it's in automotive, electronics manufacturing, and I think that's where we continue to automate the industries. Process automation is an area wherein it goes into relatively in the core sector or heavy industry, which is prone to capex cycles, because sometimes the industrial cycle capex is up and sometimes is down. So we did see that there is a delay of decision making in the process automation area. And also around this year, we had fairly large orders in the traction area from railways and in the metros specifically, so which is not matching in the same quarter. So on a relative basis, you will see there's a decline there. So otherwise, we find that the market at a base level is pretty solid and robust, but at the same time, there's a sluggishness in decision making at this point of time.
Understood. So this sort of cyclical correction that you alluded to, Sanjeev, how long do you think it can last from your experience over the last couple of years?
Back of 5 years of robust growth in our orders, revenues, as well as profitability. And I think that has been reflected very well. I think India's GDP has been growing about 6.5%, close to 7%. We have captured about 22% CAGR growth in last 5 years. So given that kind of scene, we always have seen in our existence in the country as well as in the market always takes a breather after certain period of time, and I think that's what the market is doing at this point of time. And also given that a lot of uncertainty is there in the market, especially on the trade front. So some of our customers they're taking a cautious approach, and we see that there are projects out there, but then there's a delay in decision making.
Understood. So the pipeline for the base orders as well as the large orders, how does that look like? Do you think that the order inflow trajectory that has slowed down now may pick up probably in the second half of the year? Is that something that you're working on?
They're tracking well. So that means that represents the base strength of the market, because channelization of the products and the solution and the consumption in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 markets is happening, and I think that's something which is working well. On the larger side, I believe we will say that we wait for another quarter and see how market grows, because some of the orders which should have been decided in the previous quarter, they have been kind of supposedly moved in the next quarter. We see that how the realization takes place, and then we'll see how the traction starts developing. So we typically take a view very close to when the customer changes their kind of behavior in terms of decision making, and then will we take a move whether the momentum is coming back or it is one-offs.
All right. Sridhar, actually I'd like to ask you about the margins this time around, because I think that was the other casualty, if I can call it that. Of course, you did allude to some sort of, forex losses, and of course there was some one-offs. So what were exactly these one-offs, and adjusted for all of this, what would the margins have looked like?
We did an PBT of 11%, PAT of 11% at this point of time. So, but I think if you adjust for these type of one-offs, which is the forex loss which we had, and you could look at it from the euro and CHF appreciation which happened in the last one quarter, which has been unprecedented over the several quarters, right, was a thing which we had to deal with in this particular quarter. And as you know, ABB follows a very sort of a conservative accounting standards, and we took all the impact on the P&L. So I think that was 56 crores, and the other one-off which we took on account of an project execution topic which we need to deal with was 39.5 crores. And I think if you adjust to this, we are in that range of 12 to 15%, which we already mentioned. So I think
That is the PAT margin, but what about the EBITDA margin?
EBITDA margin 1.5% to that, and we would be there around 16-17% over there.
And Sanjeev, I have to ask you about the robotics division. I know you have given a lot of clarification out in your presentation as well as the press release, but if you can help me with the timeline for that, because the global parent has said Q2 of 2026 is roughly when this sort of restructuring will take place. So is the timeline similar for the entity in India as well?
We take note of the global flow, wherein start of next year they wish to have a new co established, and I think given if the board finds everything in order in India, we'll try to follow the same timeline.
All right, and I'd also like to ask you about the other segments, right? I mean, if I look at the business X of robotics, only in Q2, the growth was only 4.5%. Of course, there was a decline in process automation. So what is the outlook on all of the other segments going forward? Do you believe that, X of robotics, what would be the kind of growth? Will we see double-digit growth from all of these businesses as we've seen in the past?
I would say compared to last 5 years, there's a relative sluggishness in more market segment relative to what we were experiencing. But we see this is more to be a temporary phenomena. Whether it lasts for 1 quarter and 4 quarters, we'll have to see how it performs going forward. Yeah.
Well, that was the management of ABB India in conversation with our colleague Vamakshi, talking about how Q1 fared and what is the outlook as far as the rest of FY26 is concerned. But we'll now slip into a short break. The management of Epic Raj joins us next to discuss the Q1 numbers and more.